Am I the a-hole for not packing my husband's bag so he could go spend Xmas with his family without me? I, female 30, have been with my husband Ted, male 34, for 4 years, and we got married 2 years ago. His family and I haven't really gotten along too well. They're rich and are all about image. I only see them on occasions, but that's when the drama is at its highest rate. Last Christmas, Ted and I traveled to spend Christmas with them, and it was awkward for some reason. After we went back to the hotel, his mum sent me a list of all the things I've done wrong at her house, like bringing wrong types of desserts and wearing inappropriate clothes. I wore a blouse and leather jacket, and not standing up when guests arrived. She doesn't mention pants. That might be the issue. This year, mother-in-law only sent an invitation to Ted to spend Christmas with family. He told me his mum didn't invite me because of my last year's negative points and would rather have just him there this year. I was flabbergasted. I asked if he was actually considering going after his mum excluded me, and he shrugged and said yes, because he never spent Christmas away from family his entire life and isn't about to break the cycle now.
What a great husband.
Yeah, wow, he's really supportive as a partner, isn't he? He suggested I go out, invite Regina, my best friend, over, or just plan my own celebration, and said, oh, but nothing too crazy, capiche? I was upset, but hey, if they don't want me, then I shouldn't force it, and tried to not feel hurt and offended. Yesterday, Ted came home asking if his bags were ready since it was time to go. I said, I don't know, and he was stunned. He freaked out, saying I knew he was going to travel to his hometown, and I should have packed his bags like I always do. Now, I admit that packing his bags is what I do, but only when we're traveling together. And I figured, since he was traveling on his own, then he should pack them himself. He lost it, saying I just caused him to be late and ruined all the flight, hotel, other reservations and arrangements he had just because I was being bitter because I wasn't invited to Christmas celebration with his family. We had a heated argument and he said, look, you're really overreacting right now because it's not like I'm going away on vacation to another country to spend time with some strippers and whatnot, though I'm pretty certain you wouldn't be as half-ticked and agitated as you are now. I'm just going to spend time with my family and, quite frankly, I don't know what it is with you anymore. Then proceeded to call me petty and say I got him in trouble and punished him by not packing his bags for him knowing he was going to travel. He packed his bags in a rush and ended up forgetting most of the gifts he got for his family. He's now not speaking to me. Am I the a-hole? Now, edit to add, I found out that it's not just my mother-in-law, but father-in-law and Ted's brothers who figured it would be best that I don't attend their Christmas and instead go to my own family, claiming they were giving me the options to decide, and also they claimed they don't want to force me to be with them since we have some tension between us. Now, edit to add too, Ted said this is all temporarily until his family and I get used to and adapt with each other's. How's that an excuse about you ditching your partner just because you're family?
Not even standing up for his wife. He's basically like, well, I was invited and you weren't. So enjoy Christmas here by yourself. By the way, where are my bags?
Yeah.
You're my servant, right? You're supposed to do these things for me. How dare you not pack my bags? You know where I'm going because you're not invited, remember? You only have to pack one bag instead of two. It's not that hard. It's half the work.
Obviously, top comment, huge support. Not the a-hole. Change the locks while he is at his appearance and hire a divorce lawyer is what I would do if my wife did what your husband did. Wow, 48,000 people approve. I think that's just straight up, obviously. Like, how can you defend the husband in this? You can't.
You can't. But the second red box is interesting. It's a good time.
Oh, let's look at the second red box. Maybe she can send him divorce papers along with his own list of negative points. Grown man unable to pack his own bags. Refusal to defend wife from overbearing family. Actually agrees to ridiculous invitation to spend holidays apart. I mean, gosh, who would purposely spend holidays apart from your partner? That's just so selfish. Like, just to like
who would
what? I mean,
fly home 3 days before Christmas.
Yeah, like just to get a bit of extra cash from their job because they're offering it on public holiday rates. What is selfish? What an a-hole. What guy would do that to his girlfriend, Emily? Just so he gets some extra money dressing up as Santa at the resort he works at?
And gets to deal with all of those cougar mums. Lucky you.
Fun fact I've learned dressing up as a Santa. Mums have extremely strong grip strength towards your thighs. They like your thighs. They just latch on when they want a photo with you. It's horrifying.
Like a bird on a twig.
Yes, that's actually a great visual. Bird on a twig. Okay, next story.
Yes.
Oh, Emily.
Oh, this one.
This is...
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen,
just...
get your tolerant drink out. Time to explore
Take notes.
r/seduction. Gotta channel my inner e-boy.
Yeah.
I'm a ladies' man. Why can't women see that?
It's so perfect.
Hey guys, I'm a huge ladies' man, but women are really not receptive to this fact. I figure that the only way you guys can help is if I break down my approach strategy.
You might want to save that drink because it only gets worse.
Oh God. My approach? Yeah. Yeah. Alright. My approach always starts when a beautiful lady catches my eye. After many months of practice, I waste no time getting down to business. Usually, I walk up to her with my patented swag walk, a slight variation of a walk taught in a Howcast YouTube clip. This has got to be a troll. I then grab her attention by introducing myself as a ladies' man. Usually, this just involves me saying, "Hey, I'm a ladies' man." Hey. I'm a ladies' man. Okay, this is how he approaches.
Oh.
This is how he's approaching.
Is he walking up to
Hey,
women
I'm
like
a ladies'
this?
man. Sup, guys? Problem is, after my ladies' man declaration, most women usually just stare at me puzzled and give me a weird look. One girl even laughed. Not only does this hurt my feelings, but it makes me think that I'm doing something wrong. I know I'm doing most of the things right though. I'm wearing Johnny Depp's new cologne, and before every approach, I unbutton my shirt halfway so girls can see my 19 chest hairs and know of my manliness. But the most confusing thing of all is that my ladies' man status is not lost on the women I approach. I make the ladies' man declaration at the very beginning, so they have to know who and what I am. How can I make my ladies' man status clearer? Do women just dislike ladies' men? Or is there something I'm doing wrong? So let's just see if the supportive community of r/seduction, people who definitely know everything about women, what they think. Wait, surely, yeah, no. Look, I think it's nice to see. I think this is a total troll post, but it was just a very entertaining one nonetheless. No, some people are taking it seriously. Oh my goodness.
The problem is that you're too strong of a ladies' man. Whenever you approach a woman, your very presence radiates sheer masculinity and virility to the point where the woman starts to feel a rumble in her ovaries, which is of course the sound of her being impregnated by your mere presence.
Cheers to that. Oh, look, here's someone trying to actually be genuine with the advice here, though. People see what they want to see. Your best bet is to figure out what they want to see and then try to be that person. For the less tiring and soul-stealing route, be who you are and look for someone who likes, wants, and appreciates that. And okay, in an r/seduction subreddit, though, this got downvoted.
Yeah, because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
We just want to get women whenever we want, any time of the day. They have to say yes. That's all we care about. Nothing
Yep.
else.
Yeah. Moving back to the ATARs. Am I the a-hole for asking my roommate to spend less time with her husband and more time home? So I, 21-year-old female, moved in with my roommate, who's 27, at the beginning of the year after I answered her ad on Facebook. My roommate is married, and originally her husband also lived with her, and they were both working on finishing up their masters, but COVID caused a setback for my roommate, so he finished before she did, and she had over a year left. He received a good job opportunity, so they both decided she would stay and finish, while he went ahead and started on his career 3 hours away in their hometown. At first, I was very nervous, not only to room with someone who was much older, but also married. I was used to rooming with 3 of my closest friends and living in a dorm, so having a roommate I got along with is important to me. But we actually hit it off so well and had so many things in common. After about 2 months of living together, I considered her my best friend. She is so awesome and smart, and I have never gotten along with someone so well and so quickly. Even though we were all online last year, she didn't see her husband very often, and I could tell she was having a hard time with it. But she also told me that rooming with me reminded her of her early college days, so I think that made it easier on her. We didn't see each other all summer, and this semester we were mostly in person, but ended up going online again early on. I expected it would be like last semester, but she actually ended up going home to her husband a lot. She would be gone 2 weeks at a time, at most, and only came back and stayed for maybe a week, and I was stuck all alone in our apartment with online classes. It was really lonely, and to be honest, felt like it was unfair because I signed on to have a roommate. If I wanted to live by myself, I would have gotten an apartment by myself. 2 weeks ago, she came home, and I mentioned how often she was gone, and she said, well, you know I was married before you even signed on. And yes, that's true. So I tried to compromise with her and suggested she could at least spend 2 weeks here and 2 weeks with her husband. But she got very uncomfortable and refused to continue the conversation. A couple days ago, I asked if she had thought about what I said, and she said no. And I suggested she should ask her husband for a second opinion. And she looked mad and said that she wasn't going to mention what I said to her husband at all because it would worry him and give him the wrong impression of our relationship, meaning me and the roommate. I don't understand why she's being so strange about everything, and I'm worried I have really messed things up for us. Edit, someone messaged me with this question, and I just want to clarify. Yes, I am bi. I do like women, but I do not see my roommate like that. I just feel very close to her. Do you? Do you?
Yeah, hi, yes.
I'm gonna drink to that lie.
This is my emotional support roommate.
Yeah, look, okay, not to jump down that whole idea of like, oh, well, you're bi, so you must be attracted to everyone at the same time. Yeah, but like, let's not deny the fact that clearly you have a desire for this woman to a degree that you see her as, you find it unfaithful of her to be away from you. And I'm sorry, you don't.
Yeah, you signed on to a lease with the expectation of a roommate.
Yeah.
But you said you could have lived by yourself, but you didn't. So you just randomly joined this married couple. Interesting.
I love that like she expects when you sign on to a lease that it includes it, like the roommate it's part of the contract. I signed this contract that would give me a bed buddy. Where's my bed buddy? That's a great top comment here. You're the a-hole, you are roommates. She is not your entertainer. Get some friends. This is straight to the point. Straight to it. Love it. Delicious. I get the lifestyle of being locked down a lot and doing online classes all the time, being on your lonesome. Yeah, look, okay, that can make a toll on you. But no one's obligated to fulfill that void for you. They're not obligated to. You can ask them to, like you did, but you've got to accept it when they reject it.
And even be like, hey, can you ask your husband for a second opinion? Because I think I'm right that you need to spend more time with me, and he's going to allow that to happen.
Next story goes into relationship advice. My husband, 37-year-old, accused me, 35-year-old female, of having a poon addiction.
She keeps looking at all these men and she doesn't want to play with me.
Well, how the tables have tornaded. My husband, 37, and I got married about 2 years ago, shortly before the pandemic hit. We've both had a very rough time during those couple of years, due to losing multiple family members to COVID, and both having jobs that got more stressful and demanding. Despite all these stresses, we have managed to maintain a really high-quality, intimate life, about 4 to 5 times a week or sometimes more, with the kind of kinky stuff that is fun, creative, and highly satisfying for both of us. Our marriage has also otherwise been great, with excellent communication, lots of non-intimate affection, and support for each other through the stress. At least until about a week ago. My husband and I both like to read quite a bit. However, we tend to read during our commutes or lunch breaks and not so much at home, so that we can spend more interactive quality time together when we both have free time. We don't usually spend a lot of time discussing what we are reading. I know he likes books about history and spy novels, but at any given time, I probably couldn't tell you what he is reading. We both read on Kindle and have separate accounts from before we were married, unless there is an especially interesting book that he brings up. I will admit, I like to read romances that have an erotic component. at least within certain parameters. So I guess no dinosaur erotica? Tame. I don't read any books that glorify adultery or other cheating, and most of what I read involves hot monogamy and committed relationships. That being said, there are a lot of explicit scenes. I will also admit that I do use the books to keep my personal spark alive and bring that back to my husband. I don't fantasize about being with other men, but often do get ideas for positions, roleplay scenarios, lingerie I could wear, etc. With all the family deaths and work pandemic stress, it would have been really easy to get my libido get smothered, but the books have helped remind me to prioritize intimacy with my husband and have provided some ideas for how to do that when I have been too stressed and exhausted to come up with my own ideas from scratch. My husband happened to see my reading list last week and, much to my surprise, went ballistic. Said I was hiding a porn addiction from him and ranted at me for hours before storming out. Then he went and told our family members and several close friends about my addiction.
Why?
Yeah, why? I am just flabbergasted because they're just books. Books I don't read during time we are otherwise supposed to be spending together and that actually help my sense of, sexuality. Also, we don't have any particular restrictions on actual poon in our relationship anyway. Neither of us is much into visuals things, but we've never prohibited it with each other. Unfortunately, the people he told now think I am spending hours a day watching that stuff and ignoring my husband and aren't believing me that my addiction is just mainstream romance novels that I read during time that would otherwise be wasted. Husband has given me an ultimatum to get treatment, 12-step program, therapy, or even rehab for my addiction, or he will divorce me. I want to be sensitive to his feelings, but I don't think I'm addicted or doing anything wrong here. I could give up the books, but then I just wonder what harmless thing he is going to demand I give up next. I really do love him and want our marriage to work, though. What should I do? Info. In case anyone is wondering if this is a money issue, it isn't. We pool most of our money in joint accounts, but each have an allotment to personal accounts for our own spending money. The money for my books comes out of my own personal account, so it's not taking anything away from my husband or our household expenses.
Get rid of him. You're providing him with this insane sex life that any husband could possibly dream for. No. What? You're not complaining about your sex life. You're complaining about her having her own fantasies in her mind without you. There's not even any dinosaurs, like you said. It's just...
I'll move to the top comment here. Sounds like an absurd overreaction, almost to the point that it's not believable. You have this on 5 times a week, and he wants to divorce you because you read racy romance novels on the way to work. Sure, there's not something else, some deeper issue. Now, let's see what the OP says about this. I guess I'd find it hard to believe he's cheating when we're having it on, and fun and creative at that. So often, and he isn't being shady about his phone or computer and doesn't have big chunks of time or money that are unaccounted for. But there is likely something going on here that isn't all about my books. Oh yeah, this one has an update actually. Excellent. First, I appreciate all those who responded. Never thought this would get so much interest. As many suggested, I spoke to my husband again about the issue and suggested marriage counseling. I said that while I disagreed that my romance novel habit, again, I only read during my commute or lunch break, not during the time we would have spent together, was the same thing as full blown up adult content and that I definitely didn't see it as cheating, I was sorry that I hadn't been more upfront about this hobby and my reasons for it. And was also sorry that I had hurt him. I told him that I thought a professional evaluation would be helpful just in case it was an addiction for which some sort of treatment was warranted, and also that we could use professional guidance on keeping our spark alive during extremely stressful times through other strategies if he disagreed with me reading the novels. Unfortunately, he didn't accept my apology and insists that the damage has been done to our relationship. He wants to proceed with a divorce since I said I wanted a professional evaluation before admitting I had an addiction, and that as I'm not taking responsibility for behavior he views as a betrayal, there is no trust left to save.
What?
We're still in the same house for now, but he is going to move out as soon as he can get an apartment. hopefully in January, and I guess that's it. I'm devastated because I really loved him and thought we had a strong and lovely marriage. A bit part of me wants to throw myself at his feet and tell him whatever he wants to hear, but I know that wouldn't be healthy for me. I just have to assume he wanted out for whatever reason and lashed onto this as something he could blame me for. I did reach out to all the people, family and friends he told I had an addiction, at least my family members and friends. I don't really know how many people altogether he told, and clarified that I don't watch the visual stuff. What I do is read mainstream romance during my commute and lunch break, and that this is what he was objecting to as this stuff and cheating. My family and friends seemed horrified and shocked at his behavior, not mine, and have now regained their trust and support to get through the divorce. I'm going to go visit my parents for a week starting in a couple days, and we'll be spending New Year's weekend with a couple of friends in the area, so I won't be alone for the holidays. Yeah, get some fresh D while you're at it. I feel like I've been put through the ringer, but I'll muddle through. I don't think I'll ever know the real reason why my husband decided he didn't want to be married to me anymore, but I guess it doesn't really matter. And whenever I'm ready to start dating again, I'll be sure to disclose up front that I regularly read romance novels, including ones with a lot of erotic scenes, just in case it's a deal breaker. This is my problem with this, though, is that she's proactive with the erotica she's reading and the fantasies that inspires her about, because she's experiencing them and being like, I want to experience these with my partner now. Like, of course, when you read these things or watch these things, yeah, it's fantastic. It's like, it's exhilarating. And what a better way to share that experience with your partner than to be like, hey, let's try this out together. Doing these positions, doing these scenarios, wearing this lingerie. Look, you obviously, when one says you have an addiction and you deny it, I mean, that's usually what most addicts will always say, that, oh, it's not an addiction. Again, I also don't think this really is an addiction, because she is being proactive with it and she's still being with her partner throughout it all. Maybe if she was minimizing any intimacy she was having with him so that she could enjoy these books more often, yeah, then it's becoming a problem to the relationship, but that wasn't happening at all, so.
Yeah, and she even suggested going to see someone and marriage counseling. He's like, no, the damage is done. I cannot rebuild the trust you have broken.
It's
what
so
trust,
BS.
man? You were getting wild sex every night of the week.
Yeah. Am I the a-hole for telling my aunt not to tell my son a lie about who his father is? I, 25, have a 6-year-old son, Jonas. When I was 18, I had an affair with my sister's husband, Nate, and when I realized I was pregnant, I ran away from home. I felt terrible because my sister practically raised me, and I might have ruined their marriage because I didn't feel I could get an abortion. My Aunt Jane, 55, took me in, and since then I've been living at her home. My sister never really got why I ran away, and it's made a wedge between us.
You were 18. He was literally grooming you. You don't, it's not your fault that this happened. He was 43.
The only person who knows who Jonas's real dad is my aunt. My sister doesn't know, and I don't think that I can tell her. This entire month, all my son has been asking for Christmas is to meet his dad. I haven't been able to tell him because I don't want to lie, so I haven't really been giving him proper answers. Yesterday, my aunt took Jonas with her on a shopping trip. During it, I guess he bothered her about who my dad is, and she told him a lie that he was a soldier who died, and that's why I don't talk about him. When my aunt told me this, I kind of flipped and told her that she didn't have the right to lie to my son about something like that. My aunt told me that I'm being an a-hole, telling her not to do that because it was hurting my son. We haven't talked for a few hours now, but I guess I thought I'd get your guys' opinion on if I was right or if I was an a-hole. So what do you think, Em? Do you think she's an a-hole for snapping at the aunt, or for just, pushing her aunt in that position to not tell the truth?
Firstly, I want to know, is the sister and the husband still married?
I believe
haven't
so.
seen you for 6 years to see this child that probably looks exactly like her husband.
Top comment says, you're the a-hole. Your aunt gave you an easy out. If you're not going to tell the truth, don't be mad at her for feeling bad for your son. Can you imagine having to see everyone else with their dads and your mum simply won't tell you where yours is? Either confess or roll with it, but do it fast. The kid deserves an answer.
And she's also had 6 years to come up with a solution.
Yeah, come on. I mean, writers take 2 or 3 years to write a book. It's pretty easy to write a paragraph of a backstory. We got a not the a-hole. Honestly, this is an awful situation, and framing what happened between you and your brother-in-law as an affair doesn't seem right to me. It feels like a massive betrayal of a power dynamic when you were young. Please find support network and cut these people off. All the best.
Yeah, also, she didn't tell her sister what the sister's husband did to her, assuming the sister was a lot older. Like, you didn't mention that her 43-year-old husband sought her out and had sex with her.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We're assuming that it was a grooming situation. I mean, what if she herself, as an 18-year-old, was just being reckless, pounced on this guy, he was like, oh, yeah, hell yeah to it all, and then this occurred, and now she's run away out of shame. Like, again, not saying that is the definite case, but surely, you know, you'd at least excuse yourself for the fact, like, oh, you know, he was really coming on to me, I felt we had a real good connection, and so I went for him. But
Maybe
she doesn't mention it at all.
Maybe that's why she said affair.
Yeah,
because
true.
that
I guess, yeah, when
sounds
it's a fair, it's possibly that they're actually really communicating
both
and not just
parties.
some fling
Yeah.
thing. Well, I mean, okay, I'm going to say Yatar myself just because you can't really blame the aunt for doing what you have literally been doing yourself this entire time, which is lying. And just like, you know, just because you're avoiding telling the truth doesn't make you completely innocent when it comes to having to tell the truth. Moving over to r/Smex. That thing that people do sometimes. Is my boyfriend right to find this inappropriate? I'm a female who's 29. If I sit on bikes, I get so wet that I need to change underwear. And if I wear tight jeans, the same happens. If I press my legs together in a certain way, I orgasm. And sometimes it's fun, but when I'm in public and this happens, it feels wrong. Especially because I don't always expect it to happen. This has been the case ever since I can remember. My boyfriend got upset when I told him this happens. He feels it's basically overly inappropriate. Wondering if there are others who can relate. Now, the story obviously got a lot of traction. I wonder why. It's a girl talking about how she enjoys kinky stuff. Update. Thank you all for your replies. I am reading each and every one of them. The general consensus so far seems like this issue is that I'm having would be a problem if I were getting off on the fact that it is being done in public by involving others or making it known. I can guarantee you that I, in no way, shape, or form, try and make other people part of this. I was traumatized as a child after witnessing an old man playing with himself in his car outside of a toy shop. Funnily enough, it was also Christmas time. I guess I have to remind myself that my issue is purely physical, and I am just overly sensitive. I'm quiet about it, and when I can control it, I do. My partner is a 40-year-old male. It's nice to know that after being called immature often by him, that I am in fact not the one in that category. Thank you, Redditors.
I already know what's happening. She can't receive any pleasure unless it's from me and my small peen for 30 seconds.
I knew it was going to go there, but I loved every second of it. Cheers to that.
And the fact that she had to say, my boyfriend keeps calling me immature.
And interesting enough, what you're doing with your legs is called syntrabation, and there's actually an sub for that. There's a sub for everything on Reddit. There really is. Oh, geez. Okay, well, it's an actual, adult subreddit. Never mind. I thought it was just like an informative sub, but no. No. Whoa. But there are two main ways I can guy syntrabate. What? I'll cross my legs at my knee with between my thighs and flex.
Oh.
Okay, cross my legs at the knee and flex. I'm not feeling anything.
You have to have a pretty
is-
big dick for that.
Thanks. Thank you for pointing out the fact I'm probably too small. That is where we're going to end today's stories. Thank you as always for watching. You've been amazing. Good to have you around and enjoy these. Special thanks to our amazing guest today for today's video is, of course, this guy, not Emily. Emily's no longer a special guest. She's a regular guest. She doesn't get the praise anymore, guys. That's just how the rules work. Fresh, something new. Look at this. Oh, wee. This is an example of me getting drunk and painting. But I don't know what to call him, so I need your help. Give me suggestions. He's an emu that I then turned into a cockatoo with the feathers on the head. So, cockatoo-emu hybrid. That's on a lot of crack cocaine. Tell me what you think. In terms of a name. Not the quality of the painting. I know it's shit. Anyway, with that said, thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Emily, say bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.